Good morning. Welcome to our Saturday training call, our DNA call. And of course, lately we've been focusing on DittoTalk. So before I even begin here, I just want to make sure I can see that everyone's can hear me. Great. Okay. Yep. You can hear. Okay, great. Thanks, Luis. I appreciate it. Michael, thanks. Janice, appreciate you guys joining today on this Thanksgiving weekend. I'm sure a lot of people are traveling, so we wish them all well and safe travels. And those of you that are traveling, we hope you get home safely. And again, thank you for joining. What I want to do today, it's not going to be a real long call. I just want to bring everybody up to speed where we are, in our DNA project with DittoTalk, lead pages, and so forth. And then talk a little bit about the DittoTalk presentation and some of the changes that have happened. And so first of all, let me bring you up on lead pages where we are. I will be going up to Utah tomorrow, in fact, to record in the studio my segment of the transfer factor portion of DittoTalk, and also to start working on the lead pages, the graphics, and getting the voice done. And so you'll all enjoy the voice. It's going to be great. And so the script is all fully done on the lead page, and that's ready to go. And again, you guys, the purpose of the lead page, so everyone knows, is it's simply a hook, kind of like a tickler, if you will, that you can put out there on Facebook, on a website, on your business card of call, email it to people, just get it out there in as many places as you can. And people will see the video, and it's an awareness video about change, about tremendous change. And are you prepared for the change? And there are those that are preparing themselves for these changes that are happening so they can position themselves to be financially successful in the future. And if you'd like to know what they're doing, click here to take this personal profile. We're calling it a profile. It's a profiling system, if you will. And then, of course, the idea is to capture their email and their name. We're not even asking for the last name. And what we're trying to do is make this real soft, because even I get tired of these aggressive people, that get on these campaigns and they just bombard you with stuff. So we're not even asking for a person's last name. We're just trying to capture their first name and email so that you can set up a DittoTalk. Ultimately, you're going to need their phone number. But most people are reluctant to give out a phone number right away, but they'll give out an email. And so, because people can go get a new email anytime. It's much easier. So you'll be able to reach out to them through email, and then, of course, get their phone number and then set up a DittoTalk. So that's the purpose. Now, the profiling system that we'll be using is very important, you guys. And this is a skill that I learned to develop, years and years ago through my mentors in network marketing. I see people that go out and present, and they talk and talk and talk, and they never get any results. And the reason they don't get any results is because it's like they're reading out of a book. And that's what we don't want DittoTalk to be, is that you're reading, from a book to someone, and they can see that you're doing that. DittoTalk is kind of like crawling, so you can learn to walk and run. Now, just because you can be the best presenter in the world, you still need to use DittoTalk when you're first starting out with someone, because DittoTalk enables you to categorize and profile that person, and it gives you a start to know what area you're going to go into. So when you're talking to that individual, really pay attention, when they select a color and what you know about that person. And look at the bottom of your screen. Like if you look at my screen here, if I were to be presenting, I'm going down right now to where we get to the profiling question. Oh, I'm in the Spanish one, by the way, you guys. The Spanish one, just so you know, is up and live now. So if you have any Spanish distributors, the new shortened version is up. So I would really like you guys to use it, and then we'll get some feedback on that as well. In fact, I'll get some feedback from you guys in a minute. But just to show you what you can do, if you want to switch presentations and you don't want to, disconnect with the individual you're talking to, all you have to do is go up here to where it says close. See where I'm at? So I'm now on the presenter's window, all right? So on this left side is the presenter, right side is the observer. I'm in a Spanish DittoTalk. So let's say that I happen to be talking to the person, they say, bueno, no hablo español. I don't speak Spanish. So, okay, we got to go to English. We'll close this. You get two options. You can go to the name list, which means you will disconnect with that person. So you don't want to do that. Don't go to the name list, because then you're going to have to reconnect with them. Instead, just go over here and say, you want to show this user a different presentation. And up pops up the presentations. Now, in the future, you're going to see the two presentations, transfer factor and ProTF. You'll select the presentation you want to use, and then you'll select the country. In this case, we have a few countries, but before too long here, you're going to see a whole list of countries. Okay? And the reason, by the way, that we have to have all these countries in there, even though you might say, well, Dave, a bunch of them speak English. Why do you have to have so many, for the UK, for Canada? Well, Canada is would be part of the US. But, these places where they do speak English, like even Singapore, why do we have to have different DittoTalks? The reason being that when you get to the end of the presentation, that person, if they want to move forward and make a purchase and sign up, you have to do it out of that For Life office, that country's portal, or that shopping cart, if you will. So that's the purpose, for having different countries, so that whenever someone makes a purchase and they sign up, it will be done in that country that they live in, and the products will be shipped out of that warehouse. And of course, you'll get the credit because it's your DittoTalk that's linked to your For Life ID. So now we're moving from Spanish to English. So I just check on the English one, and voila, we've now gone into an English presentation. Now I can go from this to a different country, different again, a transfer factor as opposed to ProTF. So you can move around from presentation to presentation. Okay, so let's get to the profiling. When you get to that first question where you're talking to the person and they pick up the phone, hang on a second, I got some little security thing here. All right, so let me see if I get caught up here. Make sure that I'm good. Okay. All right, so when you get to where the person's going to select, it's real important that you're familiar with this. If you look at the bottom of your screen, all right, so let's say this person happens to click, we'll go green, all right? Green people, they can be some of the toughest sometimes, all right? So this person chose green. Now, if you go over here on the presenter's side, on the left side where my mouse is moving, if you look, you'll see it says, remember, Dave. Remember, Dave is green. Speak in a calm, precise, businesslike, and systematic manner. Now, when you're doing that, I'm doing that with you guys right now. I'm speaking with you in a calm voice. I'm trying to keep things systematic, moving forward, trying not to have as, many flaws here and there. Now, if I was talking to a blue person, let's say, it would be a lot more funner. There would be some joking going on. Might even find ourselves having a little small talk, talking about, what you did for Thanksgiving, because blues, they just want to have fun. So it's real important, you guys. I can't stress the importance of developing that skill, to be able to not only attract a person, but then to be able to establish a bond with them as quickly as possible. So just keep in mind, all of this that we're doing with all of the knowledge of transfer factor and ProTF and all this stuff that you might know, throw all that out the window in the beginning. It's important to know it, but the most important thing is that relationship that you begin from the word hello, or that first handshake with an individual, because you're not trying to close them. All right, I hear that word a lot, close, and it's a word that we all use. I even use it now and then, but I learned something from one of my distributors in Australia, and this is years ago. He said, you know, this really isn't about the close, it's about the open. Because this person you're talking to, you're not trying to close them on selling them a car or a refrigerator or something. You know, you want to work with them, hopefully on a daily basis, establish a relationship, you know, and have fun working together and create that bond, that friendship, you know, to where you're going to build something and you're building this empire and having fun doing it. So it's an open more than a close. And so from the word hello or that first handshake or first hug or whatever it is where you meet the individual, start talking to them, it's real important that you know who you're talking to. So as you're going through the presentation, you know, you'll see down at the bottom of that screen where my mouse is now moving around, you will see where it'll keep kind of informing you about that individual. Let's go back again and select another color just so you kind of get an idea of, you know, some of these other types of people. Let's go with a yellow. I already mentioned blue. All right. Your yellow people, you know, those are going to be the ones that are going to be your, you know, caregivers. They're very much into serving others. Those that on Thanksgiving had gone out and done service to help others, you know, those that may be homeless or in need, you know, of food and shelter. So when you're talking to those people, soft voice is important because you'll notice they're never boisterous. They never talk loud. You know, it's more of a soft, caring, and you talk about benefits. You talk about help. You talk about things that we're doing to make the world a better place. And when you're talking about this business, what I like, if I'm talking to a yellow, I got two benefits here. I'm helping people be successful, you know, not only physically by using the 4Life products and maintaining a healthy, active lifestyle, but I'm helping them as well financially by educating and teaching and mentoring and even just introducing them to something that will open their eyes if they've never had a business of their own or never networked to a whole new world, you know, that they can get involved in and build something that's theirs or that's yours, you know. And that's what I try to tell people, you know, build something for you and your family. Don't just exchange hours for dollars because that day is going to end. But if you build something, what you build will always be there. So these skills that you develop as you're talking with people, you know, you guys, it doesn't happen by reading a book. The only way it happens is by practicing. So I would encourage you, practice your ditto talks, you know, and even get to the point where you don't even hardly have to look at the script. You know that what the next slide is, it's already in your mind. And then when you get to that point, you will see, like I said, next year, we'll have the bulleted ditto talk, which means that now you know what to say. You're just going to use your verbiage, you know, and with your personality. And then, of course, the transfer factor ditto talk. And we'll have other different ditto talks in there. So in presenting, you guys, the presentation, you know, that is the lifeblood of our business, is going out there and presenting. And when I first joined 4Life, you know, I had this thing going, and Jeff Altgilbers and I, we called it our 90-day plan of massive action, and we called it working from 8 to faint. So every day, 8 o'clock in the morning until, you know, you're ready to faint at night, and we were talking to people. And when it really gets fun is when people start talking to their people, and they start talking to their people, and next thing you know, in a day, you might have done 20 or 30 calls with people. And out of those calls you did, almost every single one of them are all excited, you see, as opposed to you're talking to people all by yourself all day long, trying to sponsor someone, and you've done 20 presentations, let's say, and you're dead dog tired, and you hate the business, and you don't want to do it anymore. All you got to do is get that one person in. So the point I'm trying to make here is that leadership is extremely important, because that's how you're going to get that one person in, as being a good leader. But what's critically important is when you get that first leader in, that once that's done, you take that person and you start working with them and developing in that friendship. And you're going to go through ups and downs and highs and lows and forwards and backwards and all that stuff together in building the business. And I'll tell you right now, you're going to count on one hand, that's 5 of those people that you work with in your network that are your lifelong leaders that you spend your entire career working with. You can have millions of people in your organization, in your downline, but you'll count on one hand those ones that are the ones you sponsored personally and you enrolled and sponsored, and they became your golds and platinums. Why? Because you can't work with that many people, especially at one time. And so just working with 3 or 4 legs, when you get down to where 5 turns into 25 to 125 and it keeps growing, you find yourself working not just with people on your front line. It's not a perfect world. You're going to be working with people on your second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth levels. So you're driving a downline, but you don't get to drive that downline until you get that first person in. So what I'd like to do is show you guys something. This is a bit of a departure from what I normally do, but I like this and it's something that's fun. So I want to try something here and we'll see how well this works since you're all watching my screen. I'm going to go to YouTube here real quick and put something in, and hopefully you'll all be able to hear the audio from this. In fact, let me ask Corey. Corey, will they be able to hear the audio if I play it on YouTube, you think? Okay, we're going to try this here. It's called Leadership Dancing Guy. All right? Now, it's a horrible video as far as the quality goes, but just watch how important leadership is, but not just the leadership, but that first person who takes the risk or the chance to follow you. So when you get to where you talk to someone, and sometimes it's even surprising, like, wow, this person's actually going to join and they're going to be in my business and they're going to follow me. Well, that's what's important, that first person. So I'm going to maximize this and take a look at this, and hopefully we can all hear it here. Okay, guys, I'm seeing on the text that you're not hearing the sound. So let me kind of recap what that was about. If you want to see it, just go to YouTube and just type in Leadership Dancing Guy, okay? And you can watch it. But it's a bit about how leadership is overly glorified. And that first guy, yeah, he was bold to get out there and do what he was doing. But the bolder one was that that first follower. And then when the third one came in, all of a sudden a crowd's getting started. Well, then all of a sudden you see how momentum picks up, and how all of a sudden at the end of this, if you were not out there dancing, then you were kind of foolish. In other words, the risk was removed. At first, it felt risky. People were like afraid, embarrassed, or whatever. Well, momentum happens when enough people start taking a chance and they start doing it. Pretty soon, it's not risky anymore. And that's how our business is. You see, many people look at network marketing and they say, I've tried it before and it didn't work, or whatever reason they may have. And I've found out every single time it's because they didn't understand it, or they didn't have a team that they were working with, or they didn't have a company that really was a decent network marketing company. So it's very, I've never really found it to be that the individual themselves, knew everything about network marketing and they just flat out didn't like it. I'm sure there are people out there like that, because everyone, we all have our own choices and the things we like and dislike. But the point is that when someone really understands network marketing and you understand the benefits of it, there's just no greater business in the world, for building residual income and having a great time while you're doing it, while you're building it, and with no limits, building, however big you want, where you want, and nowadays communication is so inexpensive, you can reach out to people. So let's get back here on the DittoTalk again. So in going through DittoTalk, I'm looking at some of the slides, and a couple things that I want to mention here is the videos. Yes, the videos are currently in English. We're working on getting the videos in Spanish. Of course, we're never going to get David Lisenby and Bianca Lisenby to speak in Spanish. So we're going to have those subtitled. And that's being worked on. And then as far as some of the other videos, like ones with me and so forth, those will be in Spanish. So we are working on getting that done. And of course, there'll be other languages, in the future that will be subtitled. So let's just kind of move on here real quick through the DittoTalk. And I want to go through here real quick up to the point where you can select, if you're talking to an individual and you get lost in the presentation, or let's say that you need to go back somewhere, you can always go back by clicking the tile. See up here that you got the chapters? There's chapters up there. So let's say, and this is a popular place you'll probably go quite often, is to this one right here. And that's where a person will select what they want to know about. What is it that they want to know about the most? And again, by their color, you'll know. If they're a yellow, chances are they're probably going to want to go over here to giving back. So that will be more driven towards the foundation for life. And so you guys give me one quick second. I apologize here. I've got to plug my computer in. My battery is going to die. All right, I think I'm good here. Yeah, so again, that will tell you more about the color, all right? So depending on what they choose. But as they go down through each of these, they're not long, they're short, fairly short. And the whole purpose of this, just so you know, you get 20 minutes. That's the window that you generally have of capturing someone's attention and maintaining that attention. After that, their mind's going to be wandering and they're going to be out there looking at other things while you're trying to present and so forth. So keep in mind, you guys, the whole purpose of this DittoTalk is to enable you to give a presentation to someone. This doesn't mean it's the final presentation. It means you've given them a presentation to educate them about for life, about traditional marketing versus residual income and direct marketing or direct to consumer marketing, and about how you can build a business by having fun, working with other people, the power of residual income, all these wonderful things where hopefully you're going to hit some of their hot buttons, and that's going to open the door to where they want to know more. I do not expect in the first presentation, I really don't expect to get that person signed up on when I say first exposure presentation, meaning that's the very first time they've seen or heard anything about For Life. Because if that person looked at it and got really excited and wanted to sign up immediately and buy product, and to me, that causes a little bit of hesitancy, because I'm thinking, okay, this person doesn't know much. So if they get excited that fast, they can get unexcited just as fast. Okay. So I expect a person to want to know more, and so you're going to find that a lot of people will do that. They'll say that they want to know more, and that's the direction that they go. Now, they may want to try the product, which means that you go to the shopping cart, they can make a purchase, but your second presentation is really the critical one. That's the one where you can call them up, and let's say you did a transfer factor DittoTalk presentation. You can go back into the same presentation. You can do a pro TF presentation, or to be honest with you, you don't even need to use DittoTalk at all. You now call them up, and you be yourself. You're now developing a friendship. You're developing a relationship with this person, and you start developing a plan of action. All right. So when I talk to someone, I just assume that they're going to be interested. They're going to want to know more. So therefore, I'm going to give them what information that they want to know. I'm going to learn about that person. As I'm talking to them, I'm identifying their color, knowing which direction I'm going as I'm talking to them. Get to the point where it's like, okay, great. You know people that I don't know. Someone's going to talk to them, Mary. It might as well be us. So let's, give it a shot. Let's at least share this with them and see what they say. Your people, my presentation. So if Mary feels comfortable with that, now I'm just assuming. The only time that I'm not going to assume is when Mary tells me she flat out doesn't want to be involved. I'm not going to push her, but I'm just assuming all the way along that she's interested. She's going to want to try some product. She's going to want to sign up. She knows people that I don't know. She's comfortable with me. Therefore, she's going to introduce me to some of her people. I assume that from the beginning, you see. And I think that's one of the reasons why I'd move right through people quickly, because the goal, when I say move through quickly, I'm not talking about, burning and churning. I'm talking about signing someone up, getting into their market, helping them sign up their people, getting into their market, teaching them how to sign up their people. But that all happens with that very first person that you signed up and getting that relationship developed with them. Some move quicker than others. And keep in mind that you're going to find that it won't be that person that you talk to. It will be the second, the third, the fourth, or the fifth level down below. Those are going to be the people that you're going to find all of a sudden that are going to be key leaders. I mean, you could be fortunate enough to have them all be on your front line, but I've never seen it happen. I always see that it's level 2 or 3 or 4, in some cases level 7, 8, or 9, where the superstar gold or platinum pops up way down there. Like our first gold in the Philippines, it's like down on level 20 or something like that. So you never ever know. So again, as you're talking to people, remember, always keep in mind you're developing a relationship, you're building a lifelong bond with this person that you want to work with and get into their market. Now, the other thing I want to talk about in presenting is that it's okay if you are presenting to people for your people. There's going to be times where someone's going to call you up and say, hey, I'm working today, I'm at my job, and I've got someone that would like a presentation at 3 o'clock. Can you do it for me? In a conventional business, you think like, why am I doing your work for you? In network marketing, it's what we do. So if somebody, back in the early day when I was getting started, Jeff and I, we had this joke, we'd say, are you at your post? Well, yeah, I'm at my post. So I was at my post all day long. And if somebody were to call for a 3-way call or a follow-up call, I was always there. Now, today it's different. I'm on the road more. I'm out traveling, doing larger meetings and so forth and trainings and working on projects like this. But for those of you that are getting started and you're beginning, when you're doing your for-life business, you want to be at your post and ready to be doing calls. And if you develop those telephone skills, in making a friend over the phone, and that's a skill in itself, and it's, it can easily be done. The more people you talk to over the phone, the more you learn how to laugh with that person, joke with that person, get serious with that person, let that person take the phone and talk, and you take the phone. You learn these things. That's how you develop these relationships to develop a lifelong network. Okay, So, we were talking about yellows, and we were talking about, giving back and so forth. So I want to go back here now again to this and go down a different path here real quick. We'll go down, having fun. This is one where blues are going to want to know a lot about. All right. So if you're talking to a blue, they're going to want to see the videos, the fun videos and so forth. And let me tell you something about blue people. You're going to find that sometimes blue people, they're not even going to be paying attention to your presentation. They're just listening to you, they're watching you, and they're paying attention, to you. And you might even think like, why is this person even here? They're not even listening to what I'm saying, because they buy you first. All right. And that's one thing about this business. It's so true, is that when you present, they're not buying your presentation. They're not buying your product transfer factor or your pro TF. That's not the first thing they buy. They buy you, how they feel about you as an individual, and your presenting, and the trust factor. You see, if they like you, they may buy something from you. If they trust you, they'll do business with you. And that's what you want, is to establish that trust. So DittoTalk is the first stepping stone in enabling you to talk to that person, establish that trust. Then next comes the webinars. Now, our Saturday webinars have been all on using DittoTalk and lead pages and updating you guys and so forth. But we're going to be having these trainings now where they'll be about the new person, who's just getting signed up, and we'll be talking about the entire system, completely, with the lead pages and all the way into Enzyme and so forth, and how those are used. I'm not doing that now, of course, because we're waiting for those to be finalized. Enzyme, by the way, so y'all know, won't be out until the first quarter of next year, because it's a Drupal. That's the format that it's under, the framework. And so it's quite a project. It's being done. But that will be kind of like the engine to help you guys manage your business by keeping your contacts all in a place, knowing where they are in the progress bar, whether that person's at a DittoTalk, a three-way call, have they been to an event, a rally, are they warm market, cold market, and what's their color, and profiling them, so you can share that prospect that you're working on with someone in your organization, and that way they can work with you. So with that, you guys also understand strength in numbers. All right. And, when I talk about that, I always mention Sinaloa in Mexico. For those of you that are those Mexicanos, Sinaloa stands for strength in numbers and law of averages. It's an acronym. That was actually made up, but there really is a Sinaloa, Mexico. But the whole point is that working together, I can't express enough the strength of a third-party testimony, whether that person's coming on the phone telling you, an income testimony about how, 4Life, helped save their car or their house, or it's given them a whole new outlook on business and running their own business and building something themselves. A simple testimony, or a product testimony on they took this product and what it helped them do. It could be the energy go sticks, it could be the protein, they've lost weight, they've gained muscle mass. But that third party testimony is critical, you guys. So what I want to do to kind of finish this call today is to tell you that, look, please do not work alone. Partner up with someone. The person that you sponsor, that would be the best. Or the one that sponsored you, you partner up with them as well. So there's nothing wrong where you've got a downline partner and an upline partner, that you're working with both of them. But the whole point is, you're not on a lone island by yourself trying to figure this whole thing out and do this all by yourself. You need to be working with people. And so that's why it's important as well to be getting on these calls. It's important to attend your events, as Jim Rohn always said, attend every event you can, because some are life-changing and you never know which ones those will be. What I want to tell you guys about the TF presentation, because I'm being asked when that one will be ready, the TF. As I mentioned earlier, the videos are being recorded this coming week, and it will probably be ready by the end of next week. But you'll all get an email, and if you don't see the email and you happen to go into your DittoTalk, you'll see in there, it'll look a little different, your dashboard, and it will just say transfer factor presentation, and it'll be set up a bit differently. I believe the way that we'll have it is that you will first choose your presentation, then you will choose your country. And there's even a couple other things we're going to be changing. Um, we want to change, for example, where it says state in when you're adding prospects to your dashboard, there's really no reason to have to put the state in. We want that to be country. So that way, when you select that individual to present to, it automatically goes to that country DittoTalk presentation, and you don't accidentally make a mistake and do a USA presentation to someone who's in the Philippines, for example. So we'd like that to be seamless. So there's a few things we're working on with that. And so you guys, another little quick story, I guess, in my network marketing experience. I don't know if I told all you guys this one before, but I flew to Australia and did a series of For Life meetings a few years ago. It was probably 3 years ago. And I flew up to it's called Cannes, kind of like the Cannes Film Festival, but it's spelled Carnes, but it's Cannes on the north side of the country, and that's where the Great Barrier Reef is, by the way. So I flew up there, a really small, quaint town, a really cool place. But I was on my way to Papua New Guinea, and I was going to Papua New Guinea because I'd been asked numerous times to go out there and do a meeting, and I figured if they can move transfer factor in Papua New Guinea for over $100 a bottle, that's what they were paying, and still are, up to $130 a bottle in a place like Papua New Guinea. I thought I've got to go there and see what's going on. I went there and I did a meeting in Port Moresby, which is the capital, and the room was full. The place was full. I don't know, there's probably 500 something people fit into the room. And then I took a little plane up into the highlands to go meet a pharmacist who had a little pharmacy up there that was interested in transfer factor and marketing it up there. And I thought it'd be kind of fun to go up into the highlands of Papua New Guinea. So I arrive up there. Little did I know that there's this fruit that grows on the trees and it's wild. It's called beetle nut. And the Aborigines, the Indians, they eat it. It's a hallucinogenic. So they eat it and it turns their gums and their lips all purple. So if you see someone looking at you and their eyes are all wide open and they smile and they're all purple, if their gums and their lips, well, they're high and they're eating beetle nut. So this little plane lands, and I wouldn't even call it an airport, it's like a landing strip. We get out, and as we walk through this little teeny room, to go out to this van that I was going to climb in, you see people sitting around and they've all got purple lips. So you know what they've been doing. And I climb in this van, and it's an old beat up Volkswagen van. I'm driving along and taking me to the little motel, I'll say, that I'm going to be staying in. And all of a sudden we're going down this dirt road and there's crowds of people jumping up and down and it's all over the place. And we're trying to weave our way through this crowd. And I'm nervous, wondering, are they going to start pushing this van? Because they could push it over. All of a sudden, we drive by, I see this smoke coming up. And I look over, and I could smell, and I apologize for saying it this way, but it's the truth, the stench that was coming from it. It was actually a human being that was being torched, was being burnt. And it was a witch doctor, it was a sorcerer, a lady, that had actually, and again, I apologize if this is too graphic, you may have to close your ears, but this lady had apparently been called in because the 6-year-old boy had died and no one knew what the 6-year-old boy had died from. And the lady said that the first thing they had to do was take the heart and eat part of the heart in order to save the 6-year-old body's soul. And so that's what she did. Well, of course, everybody got angry when she did that. And she did that and then, of course, disappeared. They hunted her down, tied her up, drug her into town, put a tire around her, poured gasoline on her, lit her on fire. And that's when I came along and saw that. So you guys, the point I'm trying to make here is that in this world of network marketing, as you get out there and you start traveling and going places and working with people, there's some pretty amazing things that you see and witness out there. So, it's a great business. I love it. And, I hope that this DittoTalk helps get you out there to present to people. The other ones are coming. Look for Transfer Factor next week. And I'll have some more stories, some fun stories for you as time goes on and some of the crazy things that have happened to me through my 35 years of doing this. So everyone, again, we're keeping it short today. It's Thanksgiving weekend. Have a great weekend, you guys. And let me just look real quick to see if there's any more questions that may need to be answered. And then we'll go ahead and finish up here. And we'll be doing a lot more of that, by the way. So be prepared. Ask questions. Let me know, if something's working, not working, for you in DittoTalk. All right. We're getting a question here on Ecuador. What if you do with your Ecuador? First of all, Ecuador is Spanish. Okay. Second, we don't have that country in there yet. We will have Ecuador in there. You'll see that all the Spanish countries will be popping up shortly during the month of December. You'll be seeing them added one by one. The reason being that every country has its own product code. So transfer factor has its price in Ecuador, it has its own item code in Ecuador, and it has its own packages in Ecuador. Whether you buy two, whether you buy a transfer factor, 400 pack, whatever you want to call it, our packs are a little different. We're keeping this simple. We're not going to use a pack that's going to have 10 different products in it, because if it did, then you have to explain 10 different things. And by explaining those 10 things, if you had to explain Glue Coach and Cardio and Transfer Factor Plus and Energy Go Sticks and Renuvo, that's what takes so long in trying to get someone into your business. Get them in first and then educate them about all the products. So we're keeping Transfer Factor 2 bottles, 5 bottles, or 8 bottles, and that's it. So if somebody were to come in and buy the 8-bottle pack, they'll get the diamond bag. They'll get the for free, of course. I'm going to call it diamond bag. I apologize. It's a computer bag. The computer bag for free, and they'll get the starter kit for free as well. So those are the perks they get in, and a slight discount on the product as well. So they may have enough transfer factor that'll last them a few months, and they may go out and sell a few bottles. But the point is they're in, and they may not order Transfer Factor Plus for quite a while now because they've got enough. Now you can educate them on the other products, and they might then say, oh, cardio, or I need recall, or I certainly need Go Sticks, and they can get the products they need. So when you present and you're done presenting, and you're starting this relationship with the person, make sure that they go into their back office, and we'll get a training tutorial set and how to get set up so their cell phone, their texting, and their loyalty program is set up. Okay, so they may want to change that. They may not want Transfer Factor Plus anymore. Show them how to do that. By doing that, you guys, it shows you care, and you're really helping them with their business, and you're being honest with them. And because trust is the main factor in the beginning. As you begin this business with them, you're going to go through as Jeff Gilbert calls it, the courting phase, the dating phase, if you will, where you're getting to know each other more, that working relationship, and how the things that you say together well, and the things that you may not say together well, whatever. But the point is that as you go through that process, you're going to be getting to know each other. And so it's important, again, to work in teams, to work together. So keep an eye out for, the Ecuador, Colombia, Chile. You'll be seeing all those pop up. And the cool thing is, let's say you are doing a presentation. You go in, you select Transfer Factor, DittoTalk in Spanish, and you choose Ecuador. Well, if they want to go ahead and buy product, they're going to buy it right out of your Ecuador cart. So they'll be going to your personal 4Life Ecuador website. All right. Every one of you has a 4Life website. It's 4life.com/your ID number. So if you put your ID number after 4life.com, make sure you put a slash in there first. Look at the top of the page. Your name will be there. That's your page. So what the DittoTalk does is it seamlessly takes the person right to your page, whether it's Ecuador, Philippines, USA, whatever, and they can sign up right there, and you don't have to worry about mistakes being made. Now, in some of these countries, the online portion won't be digital. They will have to print out the application and scan it and send it in, or fax it and send it in. So that won't always be digital. Some countries, they do take digital applications, some do not. That's by law. All right. So here's we got someone answering. How do we look for new prospect to show DittoTalk? All right. You guys, prospecting, that is a whole training in itself that I'm going to leave for another day. We will do that. But in prospecting, That is a skill. And think of it this way. I hate politics, all right? I hate it. But you have to be a bit of a politician. You have to sell yourself. Again, what do people buy first? And the person that asked this question, by the way, is Yuen Kuing or Kung. So I'm sure you're probably calling from Singapore, or Indonesia, or somewhere over there. But anyhow, welcome, Ewan. Appreciate you being on. In prospecting, we all wish we had this influx of prospects. And every day you open up your email, and there's 100 people there saying, "Hey, I want to talk to you about For Life." But that's not the way it happens. Now, you can build it up to where things happen that way, but it begins with that first person. All right. Networking is not about mass marketing. Mass marketing is like doing mass mailers, mass emails. Those are people that are just trying to push a product and just sell a product and get it, one-offs, one time, get the sell and in and out. Okay. That's not what we're about. We're about development. We're about developing skills and longevity, building something that lasts. So your prospecting efforts, there's many, many ways of doing it. When I was growing up in the industry, old school, we didn't have cell phones, for crying out loud. I mean, it's funny hearing me say that. I didn't even have a cell phone, and I was a network marketer. It was about literally calling up people and saying, "Who do you know?" Referral marketing, constantly getting referrals. So that's one thing, Ewan, that you want to do. Always try to get a referral. And in DittoTalk, you'll notice that when you get to the end, you even can ask them, "Do you know anybody that may be interested in starting up their own business, or interested in the health and wellness industry, or trying these products?" So all you've got to do, Ewan, is get one person to join you and get on your team, and get involved with us in DNA. One person. They know people you don't know. You need to use your leadership skills to get into that person's circle of influence, their market, who they know, and start presenting to them. That's leadership. And that's going to create change. Now, I've not worked with you, so I don't know, your level of leadership, but trust me, as you start doing it, you will change. You will turn into a different person. And the people that know you, being your family, friends, and neighbors, they will see you changing. Many of them may not even like the change they see, because Ewan is turning into this professional entrepreneur, very successful, wealthy business person, and you're changing. And some people don't like that. They like Ewan the way he is. Well, trust me, they'll love the change, just like you'll love the change. But it takes place with that first person you work with. Then you start working with a few more and a few more. Lead pages will help you bring some people to the table. You'll use Facebook, put your lead page out there. You can even use other social media, LinkedIn, other ways, even Twitter. You start building up your Twitter feed, your Twitter base, because Twitter's unlimited. Twitter, you're pushing out. Facebook, you're trying to bring in. You see, it's different. So with Twitter, start tweeting, start building that up, and driving people to take a look at the lead page. When will that be out? Again, I'll be up in Utah next week. We're working on it, coming soon. All right. So hope that answers your question, Ewan. But prospecting, that's the lifeblood of the business, and I would say it's probably the toughest for everyone. But once you get beyond the personal prospecting, people start bringing people to you if you're a good leader. And that's when it gets a lot of fun to wake up in the morning or in the afternoon. You come home and you listen to your messages, and you got 5 people, 10 people that are calling you because they want a presentation. And trust me, that will happen if you declare yourself. So finalizing the call today, because we're going on an hour now, declare yourself, you guys, all right? That's what it's about. And I don't mean running up and down the street, waving a For Life flag, screaming, No, you declare yourself through a I call it a calm intensity. As you're talking to people, they know you're serious about what you're doing. You're building a real business. You're doing it. You're enjoying yourself doing it. People, they see what you're doing, and they see that change that's going on. Even inside, you might feel like, gosh, this is a lot of work. Trust me, they see you, they look at you, and how they look at you and see you, your attitude, your persona, what you exemplify, that's what they're going to see and hear and feel. All right. So no matter what kind of day you're having, you've always got a smile on your face. If you need to put one of those squeezy balls next to you that you can squeeze all the time because you're stressed or frustrated, do it. But when you're in presentation mode, you're the happiest person in the world. And here's what's funny. You can't give a presentation and be disappointed or be bummed or be, sad or whatever. You can't. Once you start presenting, it's like, kabam, the lights go on. So if you want to pick yourself up, present. But most of all, declare yourself. What do you want? What do you really want out of this? Write it down, make a note, put it somewhere so you look at it every so often. All right. Declare yourself and be prepared for change. All right. This is going to be fun. This is a project, you guys. So this is a work in progress. With more things coming, as I said, lead page, enzyme, pro TF, a lot of stuff coming up. Thanks again. Appreciate you guys. Love you. Thanks for everything you're doing. We're going to have a lot of fun doing this. Let's go out and share this with people. Have a great weekend, you guys. Thanks again. Look forward to talking to you next week. And be prepared for some weekly, during the week, on weekdays, some presentations coming up as well. All right. Have a great Saturday, everyone. And we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye for now.